Hi folks, Sixlicers here. Now, I have two little knives here, which are the Reeve Mnandi, which is a small gentleman's pocket knife of extremely high quality. What is different though about these two is that this one here is a Chinese knockoff, which I've had for a long time. It cost me £8, but for reasons best known to AliExpress, they sent me two, so in effect it cost me £4. I gave one of them away as part of a giveaway many years ago. This one, on the other hand, costs about 100 times, a little more than 100 times as much as this one. They are different in a couple of ways, though, other than the pure build quality and so forth. This one is the first generation, or a copy of it, which has a kind of hard edges to the fuller nail nick, whatever. This is the second generation. It has the more rounded ones. But other than that, it's really a case of sort of looking around. You know, the pivot is neater and smaller on the real one, and it's cruder and not so well finished on the knockoff one. On the proper one, the Art Deco inspired pocket clip has the Reeve logo on the top and is screwed in using an Allen key, or it might be a Torx, I think it's a Torx, from the reverse side. Now, it is actually reversible. That's what that little pinhole there is for. It's what keeps the clip from swiveling about. And to be honest, this knife actually would work perfectly well as a left-hander, but it is also available as a left-handed knife, as Reeve do with many of their knives. Now, I'm going to put the knockoff away, because in a way it's a distraction, because I suspect on camera it'll be hard to tell the difference between one and the other, and in many ways that is actually true, because it's actually quite a good copy, but there is this question of good, as in good and evil, because the Chinese knife is simply a straight copy of the Reeve knife, with no attempt to cover up what they're doing. It's just a blatant theft of their design, and it is cruder and just not so well done. Plus, it claims to be 440C, which it probably is. I don't believe this will be probably S35 or S45 steel. I don't have the birth card here, so I can't tell you, but I think it's too early to be Magna Cut. The Magna Cut ones are usually the third generation, which has a different fuller. It has a fully cut out fuller. It's a hole in the blade right the way through. So that's what marks out the third generation, and I think it's only third generation ones that got Magna Cut. Earlier ones, let's say, were S35VN and S45VN. Now, those steels are developments from S30V, and all three of those steels were created in combination with Chris Reeve. Effectively, that's what he wanted for his knives. So they're good, very good steels. I'm not 100% sure that the move to Magna Cut is a totally worthwhile exercise, because, like I say, this is what Chris Reeve actually wanted. Now, Chris Reeve is retired. The company's run by his ex-wife and by his son Tim. So you wonder what decisions are being made there and how that all works. But this here is a beautiful little knife. It's really, really nice to carry. I've never carried this one, obviously. I've only carried the little Chinese knockoff. But this one is just nicer in every little detail, even if in the larger scale, one could say it's the Chinese ones as a very good knockoff, but this one is just it's a little bit more refined. I was going to say delicate, but delicate would be getting it wrong. It's just a more refined design and build. They've just done it's the little things, and they won't come over in the video, but they do come over when you put it in hand, particularly when you compare it side by side. Now, this is a frame lock, but it's sometimes called a bolster lock, but the lock bar is behind the it's sort of a half inlay, half onlay material, but so although it does have the lock bar on this side, if you were to put the clip on the other side, which you can, it would look right in your hand. There would be none of the obvious sort of lock bar experience that you have here. Is very much more subtle there. I should also, while I've got this here, this is the small Sebenza 31, and you can see from this that the Mnandi is really quite a small knife. It's a little shorter than the 31, but it's way narrower this way, and it's actually a little bit, but not much, but a little bit thinner in the handle, but the blade is quite a lot thinner. The 31 Sebenza work knife. I don't actually know what Mnandi means. I probably should have looked it up before I made the video, but I didn't think about it until just this very minute. But like I say, you can see the Mnandi's thinner than the 31. But it's also, the main difference is really, it's just smarter. This is designed to work. This is designed to look nice and work. And it is a very plausible knife. If you're using your knife to open envelopes and cut labels and all the stuff that one might do with a small pocket knife, then this is going to work just great for you, and it's fairly non-threatening. I don't know whether the small Sebenza would be considered threatening by very many, but I know there are people that would look at that and be a little triggered by it. But in many ways you can see the Chris Reeve heritage in these blade designs. They are very similar except in scale. Obviously the handles are rather different, although they do share that lock mechanism. In terms of the lock mechanism, by the way, I should say, although the knife is quite slim, that nail lock bar is actually quite easy to find. So I need my other hand up here. And obviously I need two hands to maneuver it, but that's just me being me. But if you you can push the bar, there's plenty of room to find that. You can see it overlapping there quite a bit, and it's a nice smooth action. It's on washers, and I'm quite a fan of washers. The ball bearing sort of flipper style knives work really well, but I actually think for everyday use a washer knife is probably better, because you don't have to worry so much about it getting gummed up and needing cleaned out and so forth. As you may have seen when I was using one of my Rocksteads, which run on washers, that they do get gummed up eventually. But this one, there's a lot. You can wait a lot longer before you clean them and before you take them apart. And Chris Reeve has always been one for making sure that the knives can be taken apart easily. This one is no exception. There's just 2 screws, and the tools to take it apart are in the box when you buy the knife, as is a leather slip, a nice leather slip too. It's good quality. Now you've got a little stop pin in the back there. Unlike the Sebenza, the stop pin is just a physical fit between the 2 sides. There's no screw or anything to hold it in. It just fits in between the 2 and is held by the scales of the knife. Because it's quite small, there isn't really a problem. The frame isn't going to flex. Plus, you're not going to bear down on it so hard. There isn't a lanyard ring, but there is sort of, in that the spacer at the tail end there, between the 2 scales, has a sort of groove cut around it, so you could put a lanyard around that if you wanted to. I'm not sure how long it would last, because the blade takes up most of the length of the handle, which is very much a plus point. You know, you've got a lot of blade for a relatively small handle. Anyway, I think that's really what I want to say about the Chris Reeve Mnandi gentleman's folding pocket knife. I should say they always come with an inlay. Unlike the Sebenzas, there's no plain Jane version of this. This is a luxury knife, and it's presented as a luxury knife, no matter what you have as the inlays. So anyway, there we are. Thank you very much. If you're interested in this stuff, please feel free to subscribe, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.